my name is Justin DeRoy, and you tuned in for a brand new episode of High Five Brain Dump. So, of course, this is a brand new show to the channel where I'm going to just take on, popular news stories that have been going around, during the week and just kind of divulge all my thoughts on, just kind of like the title of the show implies, and basically kind of just dumping out, all of my thoughts on this stuff that I've been having during the week. And I'll go for, a variety of news stories. I'm going to do media, science tech stories, political stuff, also just top world local news, things like that. But so we're gonna go ahead and start off with some recent tech news, particularly stuff that's been developing in pharmaceutical news. Really, and there's some pretty interesting stuff coming out on some new medications, one of which is a new kind of blood drug or heart drug, actually, that will help reduce the likeliness of dementia and strokes from, I believe, heart medication. And this is from a study they're actually doing in Edinburgh in the UK. So obviously this would be probably great help for a people of elderly people that, that are higher risk of strokes and dementia. So that's pretty interesting. Another one that particularly personally interests me because it involves phase 1 clinical trials that they're trying to do for a new cell therapy that's going to help with leukemia, because in my family, my mom actually, and also my grandmother, they've also dealt with cancer, but my mom in particular actually does have leukemia or is in remission from it. So to hear that they're coming up with new treatments for it is actually very interesting. There's a lot of technical stuff involved with this, but from what I understand, the idea is that they're creating with this cell therapy a basically more resilient cell than normal human cells that'll be able to basically better fight off the leukemia disease. So that'd be really interesting because it probably, from the sounds of it, could, if they have basically created this stronger cell to fight off the disease, then they probably wouldn't need such harsh treatments such as, the chemotherapy that they currently use. Which, again, from my own personal experience from my mom going for this stuff, is very, damaging to the body and stuff like that. Because you're basically irradiating the body to kill these cancerous cells. But again, you have these stronger, what they're calling delta gamma T cells that could combat these cancer cells. You wouldn't need these harsh, treatments of the body. So I'd be definitely wanting to keep in on this news story because, anything they can do to come up with better treatments for any kind of cancer would be just great. So, yeah, I'd be very interested to see where these trials go, if it turns to show some merit and actually starts helping people better. Then moving into kind of top news / it's more political news, I'd say, than really top national news, but it is something very popular in the news. I was seeing tons of stories come out on this, but basically the story of them impeaching William Barr in Congress because they've requested the unredacted Mueller report to review, but William Barr, the Attorney General, has basically refused to turn this unredacted report over, basically by President Trump's request. So now they have moved forward, and as of Wednesday, already found him in contempt for refusing to do this. And for me, what this basically sounds like, it was a mistake for one to just let him off, and obviously he's got stuff to hide, and he's just trying to keep everyone out of his business to basically stay afloat as president as long as he can. I can't understand how anyone, after all this stuff that's been coming out of him dodging all of this legal stuff, this very obviously, shady stuff that he's pulling, why they want to keep him as president. I'm really hoping that everyone can finally come out and realize they made a huge mistake by voting him as president. But yeah, why would you have this report hidden if you truly were innocent and there's nothing in there that could possibly hurt your reputation? And I feel like that's why he basically threw his own man under the bus to take the hit for this, and refusing to let them have this report is what it all really sounds like. But now moving on to the fun, lighter side of this show, I wanted to talk about a topic that's been going around a lot lately, ever since, Endgame had come out now about 2 weeks ago. But the story of the issue of Old Man Cap, basically. So a lot of people have been arguing over this, because the idea of Old Man Cap basically, in some way, kind of breaks their time travel rules that they basically have created for this movie, saying that, anything they go and do in the past wouldn't actually have any issue of, messing with their future, because apparently, all they would really do is create a separate timeline separate to theirs, if anything, so it can't do any damage to their present. But the thing is, then, how does Captain America then go back in time, decides to, instead of coming back after he returns the Infinity Stones, how does he then stay back in the past with Peggy Carter and marry her and live out his life, to then just basically live to present day, so that he can be there on the park bench to visit them in the, present time? Because he should have then, by their rules, have actually been living in an alternate timeline. So there were some things that the Russo brothers had chimed in on and so like that with this, but they honestly, whatever they added to the story didn't, to me, sound like it was any help with trying to clear this whole matter up. So then there's not really two, there's probably more than two, but basically two of the main possibilities you have. One, they just decided to ignore their own rules and just said, no, he was able to just go back in time, live out his life from that point all the way up to the present, so that he could visit them in modern day. But it seems silly then to try to say that, the time traveling wouldn't affect their present day if they mess up anything in the past. So that's confusing. But another theory that I heard floating around there, and this is the one I kind of like because it helps basically avoid some very disturbing issues if you go with option one, is that, so he lives in this alternate timeline with Peggy Carter, but then towards the end of his life, when he's now basically about to retire from everything, and he's basically lost Peggy Carter anyway, and he feels like he now can rejoin the present day, although at an advanced age, he then uses pin particles that he apparently basically squirreled away to use his quantum suit to then finally travel to the back to the future to then meet him at that park bench. So the reason why I said that this one seems to be the best option, because Some sticky issues, though, you have if you just go with the ignored version, option A, where they just ignore their own rules. Okay, so then that kind of seems like they're implying then he had all along been Peggy Carter's husband, which we know obviously she had to have married somebody because she has grandchildren, which then lies into the bizarre issue of Captain in Winter Soldier. Well, not Winter Soldier, but actually it's Civil War. Well, both of them, he kind of has a relationship with Peggy's granddaughter. So, if he is the husband of Peggy Carter and is also the father of her children, we're then saying he gets it on, or at least makes out, at very least, with his own granddaughter. It's all the Game of Thrones, scenario all over again with this disgusting freaking, crap with all the incest going on. And nope, I don't want anything to do with any more incest. So that's why I'm choosing the safer option, just choosing to believe. Maybe we are going to just say he used some pin particles and the quantum suit so that he can just completely skip back to his own timeline, so we don't say he ended up making out with his own granddaughter. And he created a whole different timeline where he never made out with his granddaughter. Yes, let's go with that option. But anyway, that's enough of my ranting today. I hope you guys enjoy this new show I put on the channel. Another reason why I want to do this, of course, though, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Come on the channel, comment on there. We can go ahead and debate on these topics I'm bringing out there. Keep it friendly, though, because as soon as I see that people are, getting nasty in the comments like that, I'm just going to completely just ban you off the channel then, because I'm not going to have that kind of stuff on there. It's fine that we debate, but in a friendly manner, that we don't start getting violent or ugly with each other, right? But, that is it for this episode. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. And that's it for today. Goodbye.